Meanwhile, the Defence Research and Development Organization on Wednesday successfully flight tested the second phase of India's ballistic missile defence system off the coast of Odisha to thwart threats from missiles within a range of 5,000 kilometers. The test took place today at 4:20 p.m. when a target missile was launched, simulating an adversary ballistic missile. This successful flight test validated the network-centric warfare capabilities of the BMD system, which includes long-range sensors, a low-latency communication system, a mission control center, and advanced interceptor missiles. The achievement underscores India's indigenous capability to defend against ballistic missiles with a range of up to 5,000 kilometers. This milestone demonstrates significant progress in India's defense technology, enhancing the nation's ability to safeguard against high-altitude ballistic missile threats. What does this latest achievement truly mean? We take this conversation forward. I have with me Commodore Anil Jai Singh. We also have with us Group Captain V.N. Jha. I have with me Group Captain U.K. Devnath, and we also have with us Major Mohammad Ali Shah on the broadcast. Let me begin this conversation with the Group Captain V.N. Jha, if I may. Group Captain Jha, if you could just explain to our viewers the significance of this latest defense achievement.
Very good afternoon, Devika, and I compliment both DRDO as well as the Indian government for having achieved this milestone. DRDO, of course, does entire R&D, but behind the R&D, the entire thrust is by the government of India, that what it wants and what time schedule, what configuration it wants. So I compliment both of them. And coming particularly to this particular missile defense system, see, the ballistic missiles are the one which usually doesn't fly through the air that we see like an aeroplane. If there's an aeroplane, obviously any radar in the territory will be able to pick it up. But when it is the ballistic missile goes up above the atmosphere into the space and then comes down almost vertically, either on solo or with the MIRV that we know that multiple independent release vehicle payloads. So with all this, it comes down and then it becomes extremely difficult to intercept. You might have run a story of Israel, how it was hit by the ballistic missiles. It intercepted, they intercepted all, drones and cruise missiles. But the ballistic missiles, they couldn't intercept. Both Iron Dome as well as the ironclad system, it couldn't intercept the ballistic missile. So ballistic missile interception and destruction, it needs a very specialized technology. And India, fortunately, is one of the very few countries where it is our own indigenous technology which has been in play. Of course, this phase 2 is an upgrade onto the phase 1. Phase 1 was the BMD, the Ballistic Missile Defense System, in which missiles of ranging about 2,000 kilometers were intercepted. That is already, I believe, it is getting introduced in the service or it has already come. I'm not very sure, but that is the stage. Phase 1 Ballistic Missile Defense System is there for missiles up to a range of 2,000 kilometers. In this phase 2, the missiles of the range of 5,000 kilometers are being intercepted and destroyed. 5,000 kilometers, when we say, it's a trajectory of the ballistic missile. The trajectory of 2,000 kilometers is somewhat different from the 5,000 kilometers. The vertically when it drops, normal, ordinary radars, they are unable to pick up because it is not moving in the horizontal directions. So there's the problem in detection. So India has, it has perfected the detection of such vehicles. We are talking of the ballistic missiles, identified and then destroyed. It has also many other systems which it will not be appropriate to speak out here on the, on the TV to the entire mass. But it has got all those systems which takes in care the types of propulsion system, aerodynamic system, navigation control in the 3D, integrated computing system, guidance system, target acquisition, as well as the payload integration and weapon delivery. All those systems of the missile is taken care of in this missile system, and then it is launched. It detects, it pinpointly hits the target and destroys that missile before it is hit the target here on the nation. So
Right.
I compliment both DRDO as well as the government of India for having tested it successfully, and I'm sure that in the coming days, India will be having a very credible shield against the ballistic missiles coming from anywhere.
Right, absolutely. Commander Anil Jai Singh, let me bring you to the conversation, sir, just to shed some light on why is it crucial for India to have this indigenous ballistic missile defense system, given in the recent past, the wars that we've seen, not just between Ukraine and Russia, which continues to go on, but also between Israel and Hamas on the other side of the world. Amidst what we've seen in the past few years, how crucial does it become for India to develop all of these capabilities indigenously, specifically against ballistic missiles?
Firstly, I think the most important reason for us to have an effective ballistic missile defense system for the country is that we have got two adversarial nuclear neighbors in our north and on our west. And both of them have a very unholy nexus between them on nuclear proliferation. Pakistan has repeatedly threatened to use its nuclear weapons, making statements like they're not meant to be displayed in a showcase. Now, whether we can call their bluff every time, we don't know. And so all the more reason we should be prepared. If we have to call their bluff, we should be prepared for any eventuality from either of them. So I think that is the most important reason for having a ballistic missile defense system, is against a nuclear attack. Then, of course, you're protecting your cities against. So basically, a BMD system is a strategic weapon system. It's not going to be used every day. We've seen how effective the Iron Dome, the Israeli system, has been in intercepting missiles coming in from the Palestinians and from the Hamas and Hezbollah, etc. So the moment you have this kind of system, because what is going to be targeted first in a war, in a big conflict, is going to be your command and control systems. Because the moment your command and control systems are gone, it can create a lot of confusion, and the direction of war can go in a different way. So I think once you have the confidence that your command and control systems, where your seat of power is not threatened, your major population centers are not threatened, your major industrial installations are not threatened, you can go into that war with a lot of confidence. Secondly, whenever you have this capability of strategic weapon systems, it also impacts on your conventional preparedness and your conventional capability, because you can be that much bolder. You don't have to have that kind of sort of capability, because a certain capability is going to be provided by the system. So these are the 3 or 4 reasons why we must have a ballistic missile defense system. We are a big country. We're going to be playing in the big league very soon. And countries in that league need to have these kind of systems in place, because that is the kind of opposition they will meet. We know that, so far America has a system like this. Russia has a system like this. Israel, of course, we know about. Perhaps China must be having a system like this. I'm not sure if any other countries have it besides India being the fourth. It has taken a long time in happening. We started in 2006, or soon after the Kargil war, I think this program was introduced. It has taken time, but these systems take time, firstly, for 2 reasons. Firstly, it's very expensive technology. It takes time to develop. India doesn't have the kind of R&D budgets that the US has or these big countries have. We work on shoestring budgets. Our DRDO organization works on shoestring R&D budgets. To be able to develop these capabilities with that sort of funding available is very creditworthy for DRDO to have done it. And secondly, if we don't do it indigenously, these kind of technologies nobody is going to give us. We have got systems. We have got the Barak system, the LR long range SAM, which we've collaborated with Israel in developing it in India. But those are systems which are more for immediate threats. We are talking of a comprehensive composite system which involves not only 1 or 2 missiles, it involves a whole range of missiles in different ranges, operating at different altitudes, targeting against different kinds of targets, aircraft, ballistic missiles, normal missiles, cruise missiles, all kinds of things. We have to have a very credible command and control system to be able to control the ballistic missile defense system. So you need your network-centric warfare has to be in place. Your radar has to pick up an incoming missile. It has to pass that information somewhere. That information has to be analyzed, disseminated, and then it comes to the command centers. The command centers have to have a robust command and control system to be able to take the decision and convey it wherever it has to be conveyed. for that missile to be launched in time, because
Yes.
time is critical here. Once you detect a missile, you have to get it before it gets you. So when you take all this into consideration, it's not just the weapon. It's a whole composite ecosystem that you have to prove. And this explosion or whatever, this test today, has actually proven that system. And that is more important. We've designed missiles, we can design missiles, but to be able to put it all together as a ballistic missile defense system against incoming ballistic missiles, both in the endo-atmospheric and the iso-atmospheric trajectory, is, I think, a great credit, as Group Captain Jha said, to DRDO, for the government of India for having stuck by this program and ensured that it happens. Whatever industry was involved in developing this capability, I think it's a great credit to India, and it puts India in a different league now amongst nations with these kind of capabilities. You know, we have a nuclear triad already in place, and now we have a ballistic missile defense in place. So both our offensive and defensive capability are proven, and that gives us a lot of credibility on the world stage.
Absolutely. Let me bring in Major Mohammad Ali Shah as well. Major Shah, despite, or rather besides the credibility factor of India, what do you think that the government then perhaps needs to do as far as the next stages are concerned in terms of acceleration of some of these projects? Do you feel that the speed at which we're going right now is the correct speed, or would defense experts urge the government to perhaps accelerate some of these projects?
Okay, Devika, that's a very good question. You know, I was in conversation with an Air Force officer just before we started this, and we have 2 senior Air Force officers over here right now, and we were discussing the same thing right now. And we were saying that, yes, right now, we are, as a country, our defense budget and our defense policy, we are right on track. We are on track, and we have secured our borders, not just on land, sea, but also in air, everywhere. So with a test like this, with a missile, you can intercept a missile, imagine this kind of a thing. At 4:20 p.m., we had the test yesterday. At 4:24, 4 minutes later, the phase 2 AD, that's the endo-atomic missile, it was launched from the integrated test range in Chandipur. So it actually speaks volumes of what Indian defense forces have come up to. And coming back to your question, yes, anything more we can do? Well, I don't think of anything, because I think everything is on track right now. And we just 2 days back, Nirmala Sitaram on 23rd, she announced the defense budget day for yesterday. And last year, the defense budget was 5.94 lakh crores. So we were expecting it to be over 6 lakh crores this year. So most certainly, when we invest and we take interest and we put in our energy towards safeguarding our frontiers for our defense, it really speaks volumes. Now, the very fact that the advanced weapon technology, which is equipped with radars, deployed both on land and sea, they quickly detected the incoming target. The AD interceptor system was then activated. It happened immediately. What happened in Israel? You see what happened in Israel. On 7th October last year, 2023, Hamas entered Israel. I mean, they had Iron Dome system, they have interceptors, they have Mossad, they have Shin Bet, they have the best of intelligence, but yet a country like Israel, which is so strong militarily, could not prevent that. So when it is a wake-up call for the world, when Israel, it happened in Israel, they feel, so it's very pertinent when we did this test. It sends a message loud and clear to our adversaries that, see, even if you attempt or try, it's a preemption for them as well, that don't even try those stunts with us, because we have this technology, and I think India has come a long way. I would like to conclude by saying there was a time when India was in awe of countries like America, Russia, Israel, who used to supply us defense equipment. Today, India, the Atmanirbhar Bharat, the Make in India, today, India is on a spree that we are exporting defense equipment to countries like Philippines, and full credit to DRDO for this, in fact, Devika. Thank you.
Right, absolutely. Misha, I'll come back to you in just a moment. Group Captain UK Devnath, your thoughts on the same as well, sir. What would your recommendation be at this point in time? Do we need to accelerate certain specific projects? As we also heard Commodore Anil Jai Singh explain, of course, the need as to why India needs to, of course, focus on its defense systems. And this is perhaps a big achievement for India. The fact that we've gone from making missiles to also being able to intercept and defend against them.
Yes, Devika, a great achievement. Kudos to DRDO and our scientists. Fact remains that we have two adversaries who are nuclear tipped, who are using nuclear tipped ballistic missiles, Pakistan and China. Pakistan has clearly said that it will not follow the doctrine of no first use, which means Pakistan may use nuclear tipped ballistic missiles against India on any type of provocation on first use basis. As far as China is concerned, we are a little lucky. China is a little more stable country. Probability that it will fire a nuclear tipped ballistic missile at India, China is a more stable country. As far as DRDO is concerned, they have done a yeoman's job. But Devika, we have to follow it up with the organizational structure which can sustain the operations. You see, we have to have a very, very well-proven nuclear command authority to take charge of all these weapon systems and integrate them in rest of the aerospace command. So, firstly, aerospace command must mature at the earliest. I'm talking about the scientific administrative part of it. Second is nuclear command authority must have its doctrine clearly written by Government of India, which should state under what authority, when and how these weapons will be used. It goes without saying that in case enemy fires a weapon at us, then definitely we will use our anti-ballistic missile defense system to shoot it down. But Devika, technical part is one aspect, and having a structure where we have a well integrated, we'll need 3-star officers, 2-star officers, many 1-star officers, colonels, group captains, and naval experts mixed with scientists who are deployed at site to finally make a functional ballistic missile defense system. Aerospace command in India is still at a very nascent stage, and probably nuclear command authority is also practically on paper. So a great amount of push is required towards that end. Yes, Devika?
Right, absolutely. Commodore Anil Jai Singh, bring you back to the conversation. So I just want to understand from you, as far as adversaries are concerned, does this send out a strong message then to a country like China?
I think it sends out a very strong message. And as Group Captain Devnath said, India's cornerstone of India's nuclear doctrine is no first use. That means your second strike capability to retaliate against someone's strike against you. Firstly, you've got to have a very strong deterrent capability so that nobody has the guts to firstly or thinks it's futile to carry out an attack against a country which has such a strong deterrence capability. But more importantly, if someone does plan to do a preemptive strike, we should have the retaliatory capacity to be able to hit him harder, which is the second part of our nuclear doctrine. Therefore, when we have these two cornerstones of our nuclear doctrine, that you have no first use and maximum retaliation, then you've got to be able to be credible enough for them to respect that. And I think this capability gives us that credibility, in addition to, as I mentioned, the nuclear triad. The nuclear triad gives us the offensive capability to retaliate. This gives you the defensive capability. You won't let the attack hit, but you can hit back after that. So I think from that perspective, it's very important. The second point I'd like to make is, you talked about what's next. Do we need to accelerate? You see, the way technology is moving, you cannot stand still for a moment. You sit still and say, the moment you sit back and say, oh, I've done this, you'll be overtaken by technology. So this is a constant process. It's going to continue at every stage. Ballistic missile defense, setting up a ballistic missile defense doesn't mean it's just that. This ballistic missile defense will keep improving. Better missiles against more powerful targets, against more potent weapons. So this is work in progress and it will continue. Now India is going to be focusing on hypersonic weapons. Money has been allotted to it. Quantum computing. These are the kind of technologies that are going to drive these systems in the future. So India cannot sit back. Nobody can sit back, because at every stage you have to just keep moving with the times, making sure the money is available to develop these technologies, and you cannot rest on your laurels. That's, I think, the bottom line.
Right, absolutely. I want to bring in Group Captain B.N. Jha as well. Group Captain Jha, your thoughts on the same as well, sir?
Yeah, they've got two thoughts I have. One, of course, as Group Devnath was mentioning, no first use. Look, these are the peacetime narrative capabilities or narrative announcement of a country. If situation warrants, any country may change their say profile from no first use to the first use in case if you are cornered. You can't keep on waiting for someone to strike you. So these are the flexible conditions, very, very dynamic conditions, especially under the war condition. So though India has itself announced no first use, but nothing can stop us from announcing it tomorrow or in the situation of dire needs to go first use. That is one. Secondly, this is only the first stage of the missile defense. You may know that when the aircraft started striking the targets on the ground, jammers came, countermeasures came, countermeasures came. Same is the situation with the missile defense, with the missiles also. Missiles now are coming up with the ballistic missiles and cruise missiles, both of them are coming up with the stealth technology and countermeasures technology. So DRDO cannot keep on sitting right now. This is the first stage that the missile defense system has come. This missile system has to upgrade itself with the value addition, with the to puncture the ECM measures of the missiles, or to do the value additions of MIRV, what I mentioned to you, that there may be multiple targets which has already been released before it has entered the atmosphere, and that may be on. So tomorrow's missile defense system, ballistic, a BMD that we are talking about, may have to have multiple targets as well to counter, to neutralize those MIRVs. And last but not the least, look, these are the technologies, as Commodore just now mentioned. We'll keep on upgrading. I was expecting the Commodore to tell you that we have ships with the phase 1 missile defense system, ballistic missile defense system already in place. I'm not sure whether it is already operational or it is going to be operational, but those things are already in place. So India is very, very, equipped within the safe hands. And these are the technologies which will continue upgrading itself with the value additions for the immense time. This is the Mark 1 version. There could be Mark 2, Mark 3 versions with a varied type of range. Where you intercept the missile, that is also another question, whether you intend to intercept those ballistic missiles after it has made the re-entry into the atmosphere or before it has made the re-entry into the atmosphere. So all those systems are there. What all those considerations are going to come under the considerations for the new R&D into the ballistic missile defense system. And I again compliment, this is a very big achievement, but this is only the beginning of it. Devika.
Okay, I'll leave the last word with Major Mohammad Ali Shah. Major Shah, what are your thoughts on this as well?
Devika, this successful test flight validated the network-centric warfare. The capabilities of the BMD system. Now, those included the long-range sensors, the low-latency communication systems, the Mission Control Center, that's MCC, popularly known as the Advanced Interceptive Missiles. Now, this achievement of ours by DRDO, instrumentally by DRDO and by everyone else, it is the indigenous. It shows the indigenous capability. Sometime back, I just spoke about the Atmanirbhar Bharat, about Make in India, about the indigenous. Now, here, a range of 5,000 kilometers, which is quite a lot. Just imagine intercepting a missile which is 5,000 kilometer range. Now, the phase 2nd AD endo-atomic missile. Now, that's a two-stage, solid propelled, solid and ground propelled. Now, that's a ground-launched missile system that's designed to neutralize various types of enemy ballistic missile threats. That's to low exo-atomic regions. Now, the very fact is, I likely conclude by saying the missile demonstration signifies progress in India's defense technology, the enhancing of nation's ability to safeguard against high-altitude ballistic missile threats, Devika. So, most certainly, I could convey a message to the entire nation that relax in peace. We all are the army, the DRDO, the Indian defense is there to take care of you all. Go ahead, work in peace, do your corporate job in peace, be happy. But the armed forces will always be there to defend you all. Devika.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.